This Rachel Zegler situation is very interesting. Every day I keep seeing stuff about her. And I've came to a realization on what's going on with her. So here's the first thing. Recently, it surfaced from an old interview back when she was in West Side Story. The fact that they did not use subtitles in a West Side Story, which was dumb. Her reaction to that, back then in an interview from a couple years ago with the Steven Spielberg flop, was, well, since America doesn't have an official language, you need to learn Spanish. This is true in the sense that America does not have an official language. However, most Americans speak English. A lot of Americans are not trying to learn another language or anything like that. It'd be nice. It helps out with life. It also helps out when you're making money with life. But most people are learning their language and living their life. But to her, well, you should have learned Spanish because that's her culture, that's her thing, that's what she grew up with. Which is a very ignorant thing to say. That's like us going somewhere and their national language is Spanish, and then we're like, no, you need to learn English, peasant. So there's an infraction right there. But the thing is, she slid under the radar because she wasn't big yet. Now, by this point, she's not just Snow White. She's in the prequel to Hunger Games. She was in Shazam 2. Even though that movie didn't do well, critically, a lot of people seem to have liked it as well. I'm talking about on the people's side, not the critic side. But if you kind of look at it, she's low-key been edging out her career, getting these different roles. And while she's doing all of this stuff, I think what's happening now is because of mainly the strikes going on, and it's kind of a slow news day for entertainment. As she has spoken and said certain things, like when she was in there and said, well, if I have to stand around 18 hours in a dress, then you better believe you better pay me for every single hour of streaming. And the funny thing is, it's like, what? Okay, what about the people at the Disney parks that have to play the things, go to the school, learn the stuff, play the things because you're going to play it, and then have to turn around and also deal with people, kids, angry, high, all this? I'm sorry, saying that you're standing around 18 hours in an iconic dress doesn't tell people like me and others who have to get up every day, who have to push forward, deal with the bosses, deal with all of this. And also, too, the other funny thing is, from what I'm understanding, you got a nice paycheck up front. So, yeah. Came off also kind of conceited, but then you take that. Now, here's something that kind of also flew under the radar that I think is starting to happen. When she went after Gina Carano, and apparently sent people after her through her tweets and stuff like that, and led the charge because Gina Carano did not put pronouns in her bio. And she did the beep, bop, boop. And it's like, you sent people after her. You didn't just go yourself or do something. You didn't talk to your peer. You went after another woman, possibly because she's white and you got some melanin in you. So you decided, okay, I'm going to go after her. And then you have the audacity to turn around and put a tweet up yourself saying, be kinder or something like that. Or can we be kind? And you'll see it on the screen. Gina responds, you block Gina Carano. And then also, too, now we got this final thing where she's telling people, I could be a princess and I love Disney and I love Disney. And she's spinning this narrative. Yet on Jimmy Kimmel, she's talking about also, too, how she has to deal with people on the ride and has to do this thing, and then it shows a video of her on the ride screaming that she's Snow White and all this stuff. And she's act like she's so put upon and such a responsibility to be Snow White. She's so important in this interview. And then another thing talks about she only watched Snow White once because it scared her. She didn't want to do the ride. But yet, remember, in this previous thing, she talked about how she loved Disney and Snow White's all her jam and all of this stuff. And she was all these princesses or whatever. And then tells on another interview about how she's only watched Snow White after like 17 or 18 years. And it was because she got the role. So she was kind of reminding herself. What I think is happening to her and what's truly happening is she's, because of the ignorance and arrogance that she has playing Snow White, people started to piece these things together. All of these different things throughout, there's more, but I just kind of went over overview. All of these different things throughout now have come to surface. Her past has come to haunt her because she's consistently talking, and now it's to the point with this last hypocrisy, it looks like she blacked out her Twitter. And she kept responding to people after she said she wasn't going to respond. She's really, truly, as a narcissist, she's coming off as a mean girl. She's coming off as an arrogant bully. And from just listening to her, she sounds like the type of person who's never had it really that hard in life. She's been thrown these roles that it's like, where did you come from? Where you're just popping role after role. And I'm not even saying she didn't work hard or audition for them. But it just comes off as if she didn't. She just is like, I'm here. This is what I do. I'm pretty and I'm better than you. And that's the attitude that comes off. And the fact that this much stuff is coming out, and outside of her on the picket line, she's not really doing anything. Like, doing interviews and stuff. And this much stuff is coming out from past interviews and everything really shows that she's kind of insufferable. Just because you're pretty, just because you've got a little career going and you're young, does not mean that you are now better than everyone. And in all honesty, her publicist should really just tell her, like, don't talk no more. People keep talking about the Brie Larson. She's the new Brie Larson. Okay, here's the difference. Brie Larson has people who actually stand for her. Brie Larson has people who like her. Brie Larson also, even if it's not always worded well, I do say that sometimes her intentions on things that she says, it just comes out bad. That doesn't mean it's not wrong what she says a lot of times or anything like that, but I think her intention, like her heart, is at least trying to be in the right place or is in the right place. This girl Rachel, however, telling people you just need to learn Spanish, not simply put subtitles in the movie. Telling people that they're wrong and she doesn't understand and she's a princess and everyone can be a princess, and not understanding why people have a problem with the fact that Disney and y'all took away from dwarves jobs, and why people don't like you when you're coming off telling people this stuff and you're being a hypocrite, and you also bully somebody, another female actress, and you helped in the downfall of not even a full downfall, but like the hurting of her career, and you definitely celebrated it. And now that the tides have turned and the eyes have turned on you, all of a sudden now you're tweeting, can we be kind? Can we be kind? And this also explains the whole we need to modernize and we need to fix it situation. If you think that the only way to modernize something is to cut things out like the love story or the prince, and he doesn't even need to be in the movie, then you're not making Snow White. And why are you making this product? Like, I'm sick and tired of these new wave people taking the stuff that we grew up with that we love and then turning around and telling us that it's wrong to love it and we need to modernize it. And basically, they just completely changed the story. So it's not the story at all. And it's just a corny, dumb way to do things. It's like, no, you don't tell us what's good. We tell you. If you want to make some Superwoman, I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar movie, and she don't need love and, you know, the head going and everything, then make your own movie. Don't touch Snow White. Because you're already casted wrong. So, here's what I think is going to happen. Because in this particular instance, I have not really seen anybody be in support of her or this Snow White movie, which I'm surprised because there's people who I've seen that were all about the Black Mermaid, even though we could have gotten a actual story that's historical, you know, with one of our roles with an actual Black Mermaid, but I digress. People had the argument about this. I'm not seeing people do the same argument for Snow White a lot of times. Most people I'm seeing do not like this movie, do not like the idea, do not like the fact that there's the 7 bandits or the 7 magical creatures or whatever they're called. And it really, really comes down to a major situation that I think this movie is going to flop really badly. And I think Disney needs to stop, take a moment, and really reevaluate what they are doing, because she's, first off, I got a feeling she's about to start becoming box office poison, because people really do not like her. And I've even seen some people go, oh, she's the star of the Hunger Games. I actually seen some people do this, and they're like, well, I don't know if I want to watch Hunger Games now. I just don't really feel like looking at her. Now, that doesn't mean Hunger Games won't do well. That doesn't mean people may not forget. But I do honestly think they need to take a step back and really just reevaluate her in this whole thing. Geek Protagonists, you stay safe, you stay healthy, you stay real. Just wanted to talk and see where it is. I think she's really about that. Possibly take a career dive. See ya.